The longest time I've gone without eating is about 48 hours, and this was by choice. After about hour 20, starving doesn't even begin to describe it. A lot of people are like, between lunch and dinner, like, oh gosh, I'm so starving, it's been like 2 hours. And then after a certain point, you kind of realize you're not hungry anymore, which is almost more scary because you know you have to eat, you haven't eaten in so long, but you just can't imagine putting any food into your stomach. Apparently I haven't liked eating very much for my whole entire life. My mom told me that when I was in like kindergarten or first grade, I told her I wish I didn't have to eat all day. I could just like take a little pill that would have all the nutrients I needed, and then I wouldn't have to worry about it, because to me like eating was really bothersome and I didn't want to have to just deal with that in my life. But this is kind of like it had turned into something that was a little bit more dangerous and ended up being pretty bad. In 7th grade, I was first exposed to the disease known as anorexia. One of my friends was hospitalized, and at first none of us really knew what was going on. We were kind of afraid, but we didn't know why she was in there. And I remember our church counselor brought us into a room and sat us all down on the couch and told us that our good friend, was starving herself because she didn't like her body. She wanted to have some sort of control over her life. And from that point on, I was kind of intrigued by the disease. I wanted to understand it, and I did a lot of research for a 12-year-old. I read a lot of books, I read a lot of articles. My favorite were the narratives that were told from the perspective of young girls that had anorexia or bulimia. And I just was very intrigued of understanding where this came from. I would look up pictures of really, really skinny girls and just look at them and try to understand how they did this. And anorexia is a disease, but it's not a disease you can catch, per se. It's not transmittable through the air. But it was definitely something that I was intrigued by, and I wouldn't say I even had anorexia. I was just very interested by it, and I wanted to understand the mindset behind it so badly that I think I almost like became someone that I wasn't. And my fragile middle school ego was so easily just transformed into something that I thought I was supposed to be. I thought I was supposed to hate my body as a middle schooler. I wasn't supposed to like who I was, because so many other girls didn't like their body. This reminded me of a scene in Mean Girls where all of the girls are standing around here and they're just pointing out things they don't like, oh, I'm so fat, like, I wish I had a different hair color, I wish I looked like this, I wish there was something about me that was different. And then the main character is also looking in the mirror, and she hasn't ever thought of her body in this way, but she starts to realize that maybe that's how she's supposed to, because everyone else thinks like that. So the American Dietary Guidelines in 2010 say that the 9 to 13-year-old girls should be eating about 1,400 to 2,200 calories a day, which is not very much. And at this point in my life, I was counting my calories and restricting myself so much that I was probably only eating about 700 to 1,000 at most. And this was completely by choice. There was many opportunities for me to eat, but oftentimes I would tell my mom that I was going to eat with friends, and then when I went to go eat with friends, I would tell them I already had dinner. In my freshman year of high school, there were a lot of transitions, and one of these included meeting a new friend. This girl in my world history class was super organized. She had this planner, had all the homework stuff in it, and I remember looking at it one day and seeing all of the things that she'd eaten, and there was like a little calorie count of everything she'd eaten in the day, and then underneath it, it was all of the exercise she had done, trying to kind of counteract them and almost just balance it out to be completely zero, which obviously is not a healthy or completely possible thing to do. And I was, at this point in my life, I remember being so afraid of gaining weight, and I must not have really understood how calories work, because if you're eating 700 calories a day, there's no way you can gain weight, because you're not even eating enough to fuel your body to do the things it has to do. So I would hang out with this girl a lot, and I would go over to her house, and we would make smoothies for dinner and then do a ton of sit-ups because we wanted to have 6-packs as our goal for the end of the year, which is also ridiculous. But also my freshman year, I joined a club swim team, which was not too big of a commitment. We met about 3 times a week for 2-hour practices. And I remember going to a swim meet and walking up to the starting blocks. I probably hadn't eaten much the day before or the day of, and I looked around me, and in that moment, all I wanted to do was just be strong enough to get through the race, probably like a 100-meter breaststroke or something. I really liked that race. And I was looking around me and all these girls were like preparing and they looked so strong and they looked so ready, and I knew that I wasn't going to be able to do my best because I hadn't fueled my body in the way that I needed to. And that point just was really just a turning point for me. It wasn't overnight, and but it helped me to understand that if I wanted to use my body to its full potential, then I had to eat right. That was the first step in being able to do things like normal people do. And through all of this, I've kind of learned that Christ's love for me is more important than my physical body, because it's something that's spiritual and eternal, and it doesn't matter what I look like or what I think I look like, but the body that I have is a gift from him and a temple that I can use for his glory. And I've never been overweight, so I don't really know what was going on in my mind to think that I had to lose this weight, that I had to be a certain way, that I had to restrict how much I ate. But through this I've learned that through this experience, I've learned that Christ can use my body not for what it looks like, but for what it can do. He can use me as who I am to teach people about him, to love people. And also in Romans 12:2, it says, "Do not conform any longer to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your lives." Everything the world is throwing at me, especially as a middle schooler, was you need to look a certain way, you need to dress a certain way, you need to change yourself and fix yourself. There's something wrong that you can make better. And I've learned that I can't listen to what the world is telling me. I have to listen to what God is telling me, that I need to see my worth in him and not in myself, because I can't do anything without him. And yeah, in moments of panic and stress, as kind of like a control mechanism, I'll still skip meals and I'll just say, oh yeah, I'm too busy, I can't eat. And part of that, I don't know if that's me just regressing or not being sure of what to do, but I've definitely become better at, in those moments, just praying about it and realizing that my earthly body has no merit whatsoever in eternity, that once I go to heaven, then I have a new body, and it's not going to be like this, and I'm not going to have to worry about it. And because of my turbulent relationship with food, I've kind of come to love my body in a different way and know that God loves me unconditionally no matter what. So I've also been asking myself a few questions. Where do I find my identity, and what do I want to be remembered for? So I could either be remembered as an underfed, underweight person who never enjoys anything that they have to eat, or as a beautiful and beloved daughter of Christ who is a temple and uses her body as a gift. And I strive to choose the latter.